Ready for a picture? Okay. You guys just do one right at that. Perfect.
You want Tammy here?
Squeeze it out a little bit.
Maybe you'll come back here.
Okay. All right.
All right. Looks great, man.
Okay, thank you.
Nice to meet you. My wife's a very
How are you? Good. How are you? Good. Very good to see you. Thank you for coming. Good to be here. Thank you. You don't need to. Telling people
I know, then I tried to be sneaky and go through the back, like, right into the camera. I was like, okay.
I trust you.
I'm gonna follow you, or you want me to lead the way? Young lady, up to you.
Sorry. Whenever you're ready, you can start it up.
I think I know most of you are Senator Julian Jarrett, and I have the honor of introducing my good friend Young.Brandstad, our governor. I want to make just a couple of comments. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here. You know, it wasn't very long ago that Democrats were pretty much controlled here in Indiana County. That's not true anymore. We've done really well in the last few years, and it's mostly thanks to folks like you that that's happened. We have really great grassroots organizations here in the county, and it's very important that we stay united and continue that momentum into this year. We've got great potential in 2014. And I know you folks will be out there doing your part, and I and all the other candidates really appreciate that. It's important, of course, to elect Joni Ernst, state senator, our Congressman congressional candidate, David Young, and I want to just make a comment. I'm not the one that's going to do this big, but I want to make a comment. Because we all know we had a 6-way increase in that particular administration. We had some pretty good candidates. So good that none of them were able to make the 35% that's required in order to win the primary, so to speak, and get on the general election ballot. And I know there's a lot of difference in opinions, different people support different candidates. Well, folks, when it got down to it, the majority of the grassroots people in our country got down to making a choice. They picked David Young. And it's our responsibility now to do everything we can to get David elected. In this county particularly, we know all too well who to vote. Stacey Apple. And I think everybody in the room would agree the last thing we need is to have Stacey Apple representing us in Washington, D.C. Here, here. We've got to get this guy elected. We've got some other great candidates here for our House and Justice Senator, Jim Butler and Kenny Woodford. It's my pleasure to introduce a think a lot of you know that we go back a few years, we were in Indianola together, 2 years back, and that's how we met. We've worked on different things over the years. We were involved with the Young Republicans, the Reagan campaign, the Brandstad campaign, Brandstad campaign,
And now the president. Garrett campaign.
In 2010, I had the honor of running for the House of Representatives, part of this county, Madison County, and was fortunate enough to win. And of course, Governor Brandstad came back and ran again in 2010, and we're so fortunate we were able to do that, and they got elected, and we turned things around from the state that we were in under the Democrats. The mess we were in, particularly under Jeff Gold. They had overspent, and I remember so well, David bought all summer of 2009 saying, we're overspending, we can't do this, we're spending too much. And Gold just ignored it until December. And then it got all too clear that they were spending more than the revenue that was coming in would allow. And remember, 10% across the board cut, right in the middle of the fiscal year. Well, we put that behind us. Governor Brandstad came in, Republicans took control of the House. We had budgets. We spent less than we take in. We had a surplus, a rainy day fund in school. And we just turned things around. On top of that, the governor led the way on education reform, mental health reform, first property tax cut, many years. And one final thing I want to acknowledge and thank you for, Governor, your recent statement that Iowa's not going to participate in supporting people who are in the country illegally. One of the reasons for that, but it's an unfair burden, to say the least, on Iowa taxpayers. It's just so unfortunate that the federal government won't enforce our laws. The president takes an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws and execute the laws of the land. He's not doing it. Well, I could say a lot more things about this guy, but I know the time is limited, so I won't. So I'll just introduce our good friend, Governor Young.Brandstad.
It doesn't get any better than that to be introduced by Julian Garrett in Indianola. So, anyway, I am honored and I'm proud to be back in Warren County. Some of you know my wife grew up here in Warren County, so I'm proud of that. We've been married for 42 years, and actually I've known Julian longer than I've known my wife. When I was an undergrad and Julian was in law school, I grew up in a Democratic family, and so I came back, but I read Barry Goldwater's book, Conscience of a Conservative, in high school. So I knew I was conservative, but I actually thought that you could be a conservative and be a Democrat. Well, I went to the University of Iowa and joined the Young Democrats and found out really early that I wasn't really welcome there. That they kind of wanted to overthrow what was going on because it was the radical left. And Julian and I were friends, and Julian said, you know, Republicans aren't really as bad as your folks maybe told you. You know, to come with me to this college Republican meeting. Well, I did. The speaker was a young state representative named Chuck Grassley. So that was my first college Republican meeting, and before I left, I got to be chairman of the college. Julian helped me do that. So And Julian went on to be an assistant attorney general and served the state in a number of other capacities. And now we're really proud that he served as representative, now senator, and of course Stan Gustafson is now serving that House district. And I also know Jim Butler really well. Jim and my wife and I went on one of the Drake University trips. Actually, Jim was a student. We were just resource people. But there's a Professor Meyer that takes his students as part of an educational and I guess sightseeing thing too. Anyway, we had the honor of traveling with Jim, and that was, we went to Russia and to the Czech Republic, and we visited Auschwitz. I remember that. But anyway, Jim's got a great background in law enforcement, and there's some really, in fact, I was asked at the press conference this morning, the Supreme Court just came down with a decision which struck down all of our mandatory sentencing on juveniles. It's an issue, I think, to protect the safety of the citizens of Iowa that we need to address. So having Jim Butler's law enforcement background and experience would be a great addition with Stan Gustafson in the House. And of course, Julian is doing a great job in the Senate. Julian's a real modest guy, but he's an extraordinary hard worker. He's a solid conservative who has worked, and I think some of you that go back a ways know that there's nobody that's probably gone to more meetings and carried more water for the Republican Party than Julian Bear. He's also been a great ally of this administration as we inherited, as he mentioned in the introduction, a financial mess. The previous administration thought they could borrow the state to prosperity. Well, you know you can't borrow the state or the country to prosperity. And the result was that we have a $55 million debt to pay back the iJobs bonds that Palmer floated while he was there. We're paying that back to the tune of $55 million a year. That money could have gone for infrastructure, but instead it's going to pay for his debt. Proud to say, though, we put together a 2-year budget with 5-year projections, spending less than we take in. We're down over 1,400 employees from the day that I took office. And we're running a smaller, more efficient, more accountable state government. And we restored the money the previous administration took from the tax reserve and economic emergency account. There's not going to be any more of these across-the-board cuts, which have hurt schools and local governments. In fact, we've restored full funding for the tax credits, and we've just passed the biggest property tax cut in Iowa history. And you'll see that in the tax bills that come out this summer. So you'll see commercial industrial property tax go down at least 5% each of the next 2 years, and smaller parcels get a tax credit in addition to that. And fully funding the homestead and the elderly and disabled tax credits, we should see a modest reduction in residential and agricultural taxes as well. And of course, we have the goal of being the healthiest state in the country. And I'm really proud to say that today at our press conference, we gave an update on Home Base Iowa, our initiative to attract veterans here. And I know Stan appreciates this. We eliminated the tax on voluntary retirement. Something that will help Iowa be more attractive, and we did a lot more than that because we're giving in-state tuition, we're giving credit for people's education and training in the military if they get professional licensing in Iowa, and for those license plates for veterans, we're no longer going to have to pay a fee for that. And we also have fully funded the down payment for closing costs, $5,000 tax credit for veterans. So I'm proud to say we've got a record I think we can be proud of, and we've created 139,000 new jobs in the last 3.5 years. Unemployment rate in Iowa has dropped nearly 30%. And so we've had, you've got a major development in Microsoft, of course, up in the northern part of the county, and we've got Facebook over in Altoona. We've got many others. Google over in Council Bluffs. We've got these 2 big fertilizer plants being built, which is going to do a lot to bring down the cost of nitrogen fertilizer for Iowa farmers. We have Cargill and CJ just had their grand opening in Fort Dodge. Valent Biosciences, a $150 million investment in those days. It didn't happen by accident. It happened because we've been reducing the tax and regulatory burden. And all you have to do is look across the river in Illinois, and you see a state that did the opposite. They doubled down and raised taxes, and they today have the most unfunded liability in their pension system for public employees, and it makes it worse. They have the most state loans debt per capita, and now those so-called temporary tax increases are going permanent. As I like to say, most of the former governors in Illinois are in prison. I'm backing off. And you know, the country has $17 trillion debt. The president has not secured our borders. We have disaster occurring across the world, whether it's in the Middle East or whether it's in Ukraine. Clearly, we don't have the kind of leadership we need at the national level. The country, poll after poll, is going the wrong direction. I'm proud to say that people of Iowa are pretty smart, they're pretty perceptive, and they have clearly said Iowa is going in the right direction. We have Iowa going the right direction, the country going the wrong direction, and I believe that we can make even further progress if we stay on course, continue to reduce the size and cost of government, and focus on bringing more good jobs to Iowa, revitalizing our education system. We're in the process of implementing a major education reform, our teacher leadership program, and of course our goal to be the healthiest state. I want to run the best campaign I've ever run. Obviously we want to win, but we want to win not just for Brandstad Reynolds. And by the way, Kim is at the National Government meeting in Alaska. That's why she's not with me today. But she's a great partner, and you know, she grew up in St. Charles, not too far from here. And she's from Osceola, was a great county treasurer, a great lieutenant governor. I got to tell you, when I asked her to run with me as my partner, my lieutenant governor candidate, she said yes. The next question I said, now we need this candidate to take your place in the Senate. I said, don't worry, I've got a great friend named Joni, and how right she was. And Joni, right now, Joni is on duty. She's a lieutenant colonel. She's an Italian commander in the Iowa National Guard. And they're 2-week summer camp at Camp Decoy. So we want to put a good word in for Joni. And she's another one, just like Kim. Grew up on a farm, worked hard all her life, served our country honorably, and brought back all of her soldiers and served with her in Iraq. She was at that time company commander, she's now battalion. And then served as a county auditor in Montgomery County with Red Oak. And of course, served for the state Senate. And I've been there along with Julian to help us get the state's financial house in order and put Iowa on the right track. And of course, she's a mother, a soldier, and she's a conservative that has our kind of values, the kind of work ethic and leadership that we definitely need. So we're excited about her. And now, of course, my main mission here is to introduce our next congressman. We are really, really blessed. The 3rd District has been well represented by Tom Lake. And I believe that David Young's got the same kind of temperament as Tom Lake. He is a thoughtful guy, he's a hard worker, and of course he's had great tutelage working under Senator Grassley, because you know Senator Grassley, nobody works harder, has a better record of representing Iowa than Senator Chuck Grassley. He has phenomenal record of going to every county in Iowa every year that he's been in the United States Senate and having been a voice of reason or an advocate for Iowa, whether it's renewable fuels or whether it's fiscal responsibility. And David Young has been his chief of staff. Julian mentioned, David was in a 6-way primary.